Hey guys, okay, in this video I'm going to be talking about a really important concept when it comes to unlocking creative freedom, not only online but also in life, although I will be focusing on the idea of creating on social media or YouTube in this lesson. But it is creating from love versus creating from lack. So this is an idea that I've expressed before, but I kind of I've really been enjoying the whiteboard thing. So I kind of wanted to visualize it. Okay, so what is creating from lack? And this is usually where we start. Okay, so let's label this creating from lack. So creating from lack is essentially where we are creating from a place of emptiness. So this is where our heart is supposed to go, but it's empty. We're not filled with self-love. We are operating in the world with a belief that in order to be loved, we need to get that from the outside world. Okay, so when we start creating on social media, we've got all these people, this whole audience here, right? So we've got this whole audience, and then basically what we try to do when we, express ourselves on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, or maybe a newsletter, whatever the format is, basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to get love, approval, validation, right? So that's what our effort of creativity is about. We're trying to get or take from the audience. We're trying to collect the audience in a sense, right? So we're trying to get, we're trying to take, we're trying to get validation, get love, take love. We're trying to get approval, right? And all of this follows, the fundamental belief that we were taught during our conditioning, which is that we are not enough as we are. And that we need things from outside to complete us. Okay, so basically, when you're creating from lack here, all of your efforts to get and to take from your audience, you're just trying to fill this void within yourself. You're just trying to fill this void, and unfortunately, it's never going to work. You could have millions of subscribers, tons of money, all the money you could ever want, fame, validation, all of it. You could have all of it. This is never going to fill the inner void. Okay, and the other problem with this is basically when you're creating like this, when you're trying to take from the audience, when you're trying to fill that inner void by getting something from the audience, you're not going to be able to be authentic, right? You're not going to be able to be authentic because of this belief over here. Right, so this is the fundamental root of why we would create from lack, is because we don't think we're enough as we are. So we think we need to get things from the outside world to complete us, right? And how are we going to do that? We're going to try to be someone else. Try to be someone else. We're going to try to work really hard, right? This is something else that we were taught, is that we have to work hard to be loved. So we're going to try to be someone else. We're going to try to work really hard. We're not going to be able to be authentic. So we're basically going to painstakingly try to get this love, try to get this money, try to get this approval and validation It's never going to fill the inner void, and we're not going to be able to be authentic. So you're going to burn out. It's inevitable. It's not a sustainable strategy. Yes, you might get the money, you might get the million subscribers, but you're going to burn out. Either you're going to burn out or you're going to be, you're going to be having a hard time. Let's just put it at that. Maybe you could sustain this, but if you can sustain this, you're going to be having a hard time. Okay? That's just what it is. So that's creating from lack, and I did this for a long time, and I built up to 300,000 subscribers. Realized I still wasn't happy. Right, I had the money, but it wasn't enough. I still wasn't happy. Why was I still not happy? Is because the void inside was unaddressed. It cannot be filled by anything from the outside. Nothing from the outside can fill that inner void. Okay, so what do we do about this? How do we shift? We basically, some way or another, need to realize that we are enough as we are. Okay, so you need self-love. You need to realize I am enough. More than enough, right? How did I get here personally? We're all going to take a different path. I support people with this in my coaching, but, how did I get here? I went on a spiritual journey. I learned how to meditate. I took, bold action outside of my comfort zone. I basically did my own process of, breaking through this box and realizing, oh, I'm so much more than I thought I was, and I actually am starting to love myself. Okay, so when you start to, when you address the root, this is the root. When you address the root, okay, and I'll actually, why don't I just give you, I think the best way to address the root is you do inner work. You have to address consumption, overconsumption habits. So anything you're trying to do to fill the void inside, you need to address that, because that's going to open up space for you to do inner work. And then you need to create more in an authentic way. These three components are going to help you heal. I also strongly advise like-minded community and mentors as you heal. This is kind of my hypothesis for how to get there. And I stumbled through it for a long, long time through my own journey. So now I can kind of tell you, okay, these things are going to help you develop that self-love inside. But even if you're not there yet, even if you're not overflowing with self-love, if you're able to hear this video and hear what I'm saying, you can begin to practice creating from love immediately. Okay, so let's get into what that looks like. Because creating from love is actually, that's part of create more, right? So that's going to help you actually grow in self-love even more. So creating from love, it's the opposite of this. We're not trying to take anything from anyone. Instead, we get on these social media platforms. But again, this is just a metaphor for a way of life. It's not just only on these social media platforms. It's also as we're walking around the world and interacting with people. But let's run with the social media example. Instead of what can I get, it's what can I give. It's what can I give, okay? So can I give love? Can I give wisdom, insight, How about just presence? Can I give my presence? How about just creativity? How about art? Did my recording just stop? This always happens. There we are. I think we're still going. My computer went to sleep while I was recording. So, you go from getting to giving. Okay? And again, how do you make this shift? You realize you're enough as you are. So then you start overflowing, and you get on social media not to get followers, not to get validation, not to get likes. You get on there so you can give something to these people, right? So it could be you give your creativity, you give art, you give presence, you give insight, you give wisdom, you give love, you give inspiration. Okay, so if you've been on a self-growth journey, you really can give your insight. You can teach people to heal using these platforms. And that's a tremendous giving. Okay, so this can be a scary shift to make because, when you're shifting from creating from lack to creating from love, it's like, okay, but then how am I going to get anything? If I'm just giving, how am I going to get anything? The thing is, when you give in this way, you are going to get it back anyway. You're going to get back exactly what you give. Seriously. I don't know how else to tell you. You're going to, this is karma. Like, what you give, you receive. And you got to give it from a good intention. What you give, you receive. So if you give these things from a really good intention, that's the charge with which you're going to then receive. But you need to trust that process, or else you're going to slip back into creating from lack, okay? And creating from lack doesn't work, as I've tried to describe. Okay, so if you're able to trust creating from love and stick to it long enough, you're going to start to receive, and you don't even have to worry about how. Also, when you're creating from love, it feels so good because you're genuinely doing a service. It feels so good that you don't care about how you're going to receive. Like, you actually don't care. Like, you would be happy not receiving at all, right? And that's such a beautiful place to be, because you're gonna receive, but you don't even care about it. So you're not attached to outcomes, because you're just doing something like so lovely. So you're not attached to outcomes, but then inevitably you're gonna reach a point where you start receiving back what you've been giving. So the other amazing part about this is when you're not trying to get anything from the outside world here, when you're not trying to get anything from these people, the need to be someone else, it just falls away. It just completely falls away, right? When you don't need followers, when you don't need validation, when you don't need approval from the outside world, when you're not attached to outcomes like success, because you're full inside, you're full with loving yourself, you're full inside. When you don't need these things, the need to be someone else falls away. So you can unlock authenticity, guys. Authenticity. Are you kidding me? When you unlock authenticity, guys, you have eliminated this possibility. It's not possible. Not a chance. You can't burn out if you're being authentic. You're literally going to have infinite energy to create. from love, right? So this beautiful intention, it feels so good, it feels amazing. You don't need anything from it. But then you're gonna because of the laws of karma, as one way to conceptualize it, you're gonna get, oops, I'm always doing that too. You're gonna get that exchange. You're gonna start receiving, you might start receiving followers, you might start receiving love, you might start receiving relationships, you might start receiving clients, right? And a natural arc in this process, if you're able to make this transition from lack to love, a natural process is going to be entrepreneurship. So you might start receiving clients, right? All these beautiful things are going to come your way, and it just takes making this shift to creating from love, trusting in yourself, love. Like when you're not, nobody's perfect. You might not always be 100% locked in on love, but that's where, faith can come in. Like you can be like, okay, I'm not feeling it right now. You don't then go back to trying to get it from the outside world, because you understand that this doesn't work. So even when you're not, overflowing with that love, then you have your faith and you have your patience. Hopefully you have practices, like meditation, prayer, hopefully you have community, hopefully you have mentors, right? And this can really lock you in on love, right? So you can stay in this place of creating from love. And from here, truly, like I was saying, here, anything is possible. Anything is possible. It might not look like how you expected when you were here. Like here, you might have thought that the dream was to get 1 million subscribers. Whereas here, you might have less than 1,000 subscribers, right? But you have everything. You have everything. You might have an aligned and abundant business, totally authentic business, right? Like this is love money. You might have love money, but way less of an audience than you thought. And the dream might look a lot different than what you thought, because when you're operating from here, you're not really seeing clearly. You're being someone else. So you're building someone else's dream. You're building someone else's dream. Here you're going to start to build your own dream, because you're still doing like creativity. Like you're doing this create piece. You're not just sitting on the couch all day. You're like creating a lot. And you have this infinite energy now. So you have a lot of energy to create, to build your business, to build your channel, to build your platform, whatever it is. And it's your dream now. Now you get to build your dream. And it's from a place of total authentic alignment. I know that heart was crazy, but there it is, guys. That's the difference between creating from lack, where you're trying to get from the audience, and creating from love, where your aim is to give to the audience, right? When you're creating from lack, it's very, very gruesomely difficult to be authentic. The temptation is to try to be who you think you have to be in order to get the things that you think you need in order to fill the inner void, and it's never going to work. But when you're creating from love, you're creating from an authentic overflow, right? So you have infinite energy, and you can begin to build your dream life, and it's going to feel so good every step of the way, because this kind of creating from love, it just feels so good in your heart. It feels like you have everything that you want already. It feels like you're already living the dream. So you're really opening the door to actually create your dream, and have it manifest, because you're in such a abundant place already. Okay, so that's my current conceptualization of creating from lack and then to creating from love. Okay, so I hope you found this inspiring on your own journey of embracing authenticity and creative freedom. I offer free creative freedom group calls every week, as well as one-on-one creative freedom coaching. If you're interested in either of those things, there's a link right at the top of my description for more information. So check that out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. There it is. Bye.